There. I'm going to do a little introduction to various types of Australian opals. I was able to do this with sunstones because I have a pretty decent variety of that particular, very interesting and diverse type of stone. I'd also like to do one about turquoise. I also did an obsidian, all about obsidian. Now, I can't be terribly thorough as I'm somewhat limited. I'm just a rock hound who's gone to quartzite and made friends and done a couple of little rock exchanges, or various friends have. But in any case, I have a decent collection of opals now. They're all from Australia. I am happy to be supporting Riley Gunn of NN Opals. This is a vendor who lives in Australia, has a direct connection with the Lightning Ridge miners and a few other areas, Queensland. Let's see, what else is there? Well, I'll be showing you a few types and I'll tell you exactly where they come from. I'm intending this to be, well, perhaps a little bit educational. You might be surprised at how many types of opals there are. I'm also going to talk about different treatments, and you're just going to see a few examples. So, Riley Gunn has the 53 Frogs shop on opalauctions.com. That's where Justin from Black Opal Direct likes to buy from. You know Riley is honest because a lot of people, they'll, hold up the little rock and have a video, and the colors of their fingers are reddish or bluish or obviously filtered and distorted. Riley's just normal old skin tone. You know that what you're seeing is what you're actually going to get. So this is a little hard case that's actually empty. I had to sort everything, and wait till you see Opal Bonanza Bounty. So to start with, I was able to pick up two little Andamooka chips bags, and these guys are going to be a tad of a challenge for me to use. What they'll need to be set against is a dark background, maybe some silver or titanium wire or black wire. They are not treated, they're not heat or sugar, they're just straight out of the ground, natural chips of Andamooka. They are a little wet right now, they're shipped that way. What I will need to do is sort through the bag, find the ones with the best color flashes, and then I probably won't even try smoothing the edges. I'll just set them in some way with my wire to cover up irregularities and just try to display the very best that the stone has. These were not very expensive. You see exactly how much you're getting. 70 carats. Number 9 is a category for chips and little inlay pieces. Now, if you had a colorful little piece set against, say, a black mount of some sort, you'd really have a great color pop there. So you'll see these in pieces I make down the line, but it was just an interesting little experiment. And then there's always the artistic possibilities of inlay, which is really cool. See, we have some good Caribbean blue flashing there. I'm not going to take these out of the bag. I'm going to move on to the next category. Just a moment. The next category I'm going to share is Boulder Opals. This little fellow is a 6-carat Boulder Opal. And I'm really just drawing at random. I mean, I have so many of each category now that I can share. And a Boulder Opal is not sugar treated. It is not artificially, influenced. It is a piece of a dark brown matrix, sometimes with lighter tones, say beige or white. And there's generally going to be little lines or patches flashing through. In this case, you see a really vibrant, dark electric purple on this side, and if you turn it just right, you can really see him flash. Now, I'm just inside the camper. Here's the, uninfluenced lighting. There's little trees, and this is just the work table in the camper. So you take this little Boulder Opal, you let the light shine on it, just natural sunlight from outside, and you see little veins of purple with the color hidden in there. And depending on the orientation, you can either get different colors or different color intensities. I think he shows best this way. That's one example of a Boulder Opal. I think this is Queensland. Splendid little fellow with precious opal in a very dark brown matrix. It's mostly on the whitish blue side, but it's pretty heavily and evenly spaced, so nice shape. The Boulder Opals tend to be a little more freeform, which I like. Great for wire wrap. Most excellent boulder with purple and blue, just all splashed throughout most generously. Really cool little guy. This is Boulder Opal. This guy was one of my favorites. He has this beautiful sort of stripe pattern, and there's just this vibrant purple visible at the top and the bottom. It's a unique shape. They're not the traditional, 12 millimeter or 8 millimeter set cab shapes that you'd find in most large marketplaces. These are quite a bit more unique. They sort of have to let the stone dictate what it wants to be to really showcase the best of the color. You can see the size. None of them are terribly big, but I think that's fine. Okay, I'm having a little trouble picking up the color. There we go. That is it. And you have to orient it just so, but I thought that was really interesting. I honestly just picked at random. I could have drawn anything, really. I have this little bag here. And this is just what I picked out. This one has blue and purple and green, and it's just an amazingly vibrant little piece of natural Boulder Opal. Now, some pieces that you get really have very little color. They're just sort of brown with cool patterning, and others have vibrant, multi-hued color. So I think the Boulder Opal is unique. It's very natural, very free and free form, just really cool. I'll see if I can find one without a lot of color, and you'll see what a cool specimen of maybe brown, beige, white, different tones can look like. Well, I'm actually having trouble finding anything without some amazing color. That's how good Riley's stuff is. But just imagine that this little kind of freeform beauty didn't have that hot flash of green in the corner and did not have that amazing deep blue and purple flash going on over there. Imagine that wasn't there. It's kind of like looking from an airplane down at a pond or maybe a peninsula out in the ocean. So imagine the opal was not there and you just had a cool beige, brown, interesting, patterned look such as that. That's the Boulder Opal matrix, and the opal itself is just sort of flowing through the stone. It's very interesting. This one really has some stunning color. I love that guy. He's going to be a little bit of a challenge to use because it's a unique, well, the stone shows what it wants to be. There's the band running right up the side, so it's kind of cut to best showcase the opal, and that leaves you with something that is really, I think, perfect for wire wrappers because you're not bound by any, the limits or your imagination, really. You can do anything with any size, so pretty cool. These next I did not get from Riley Gunn. Dear Lapidary Dave, awesome YouTuber and local friend, was able to pick these 3 gorgeous solid lightning ridge pieces up from Tucson Gem and Mineral Show a couple months ago. And I'm just going to show you very quickly what a solid black lightning ridge opal looks like, and then I'm going to show you doublets. There's a reason I'm starting with this. These guys are solid stones. There's no glue, no cutting. They are probably about the highest grade you can get. Maybe you could find different colors, but these are just absolutely superb specimens. This guy on the right, you have to angle him a little more to catch his best features, kind of purples and greens. But what I want to show you is you turn them sideways and you can see that it's just a polished rock. That was a little glue from the Daub stick. You know it's not shined on the back, but it's just a solid, beautiful rock. And this guy actually has some stunning greens in him. There we go, a little blue and green coming out. All right, so these are one-piece solid Lightning Ridge opals. They are probably worth a good $150, $200 each. I was blessed with a little bit of a deal, but I'm going to show you what's called a doublet next. This is called a doublet, and certain unscrupulous jewelers used to try to trick tourists in Australia in the Cooper Pedy or Lightning Ridge area. They would have a stone that was set so you could only see the front, and really it looks a lot similar, doesn't it? I mean, this isn't quite, as high grade, but to all intents and purposes, it's got some great oranges, some light greens, the classic opal look to it. It's beautiful. What it is, in fact, and there's nothing wrong with this as long as you're honest, it's a piece of black potch or maybe some other material, but it's a black stone, and glued onto the top is a little sliver that wasn't big enough to be cut in its entirety, but had great color, and that little sliver is glued on top of the black background, which really helped bring out the color and intensify all its better points. But it literally cost a 20th, or this guy cost me $5. Now, granted, I got a hell of a steal and bought in bulk, but if you were buying something of this carat weight, it would cost you $100. So that's how doublets work. I'll show you a few more examples. This guy, I tend to like shapes for some reason. I'm going to angle him to catch the lighting rightly. There's some green, there's some blue. All right, today's not his day. I can't really catch his best features, so I'll move on, but he's a cool little dude. Can't wait to use him. It's a super fiery, high-grade, pinks, greens, just the best colors you could possibly ask for. It's a doublet. You turn it sideways. I'm having a little trouble focusing. It's a mini, but you see it's just a thin sliver of high-grade opal on black, probably just, colorless opal matrix, but you combine that little sliver with that black and you get something that looks like the highest grade opal you could ever ask for. Make a wonderful accent. One more little doublet. I absolutely dig these colors. It's sort of purplish blue. Now the doublets don't tend to be very big, at least not the ones I have, but they're fantastic little accents, and you see that was it was a decent-sized little opal band. I'm sure if you'd left it just on its own, it would be very fragile and probably break. But you put it on that, it's probably, I don't know what, resin, potch, something. Put it on the background, glue it, polish it, it's very sturdy, and it just looks incredible. And the cost is so much less. I mean, you'd never want to sell this for what you would a really top-grade, pure opal. But as long as you're honest, if someone wants the look of opal, the fun, the vibrancy, but they don't have the budget for it, well, make them something awesome with a doublet, As long as you're honest. If you are honest, everybody's happy. Sorry about the focus. Well, you saw him. I'll move on to something a little bigger that the camera doesn't struggle with as much. Next thing I'm going to show you is called Black Spider Matrix Opal. Now this is Boulder Opal, but instead of brown and beige, you have a jet black host rock. And the opal that runs through is quite the same. You have greens and purples and blues and all that, but you have, I'm sorry, let me turn that overhead light off. I was having a little trouble showing the tones. Let me turn this light off. I'm not sure if that's that much better. Again, I'm just, sitting inside at the table. Just my little trees. And I'm, pretty real and raw here. There we go. You've got some little green flashes. Not the most colorful, but I think it's certainly interesting. It's not treated. It is simply a polished rock out of the ground of black matrix with beautiful precious opal running throughout. I'll show you a few more examples. This is black spider matrix Boulder Opal. Now this guy has a ton of precious opal. As you can see, it's not super colorful, but man, that's not white rock. That is precious opal without a lot of flash. You've got some purple on the side. It's a nice shape. It's just a cool specimen. Very similar piece. It doesn't have a lot of the white. It's more on the purples, the blues, but you see the black host rock, a little bit of precious opal, the white sort of band running this way. Now, none of these pieces are real big, but they're perfect for what I do. And Riley has a great system. You look at his little 9-carat, it has the size, it has the lot number. He's upside down right now. And then I made some markings for my own purposes for finding things again. I'm going to organize this all. I have to know where things are. But this is black spider matrix, black Boulder Opal. I'll show you a piece with a few more colors in it. This one has a lot of green. It's kind of subtle. They're not very big, but you angle it just right and there's sort of magical little color flashes. I think it's pretty awesome. It's kind of like looking through the Hubble telescope at a distant galaxy. And I have a few more, but I don't want this video to be too terribly long. I'm just trying to teach you a bit about different kinds of opals. These are all Australian, and these are 2 types of Boulder Opal, spider matrix and the classic brown boulder. Now I can't resist. There's one more that I was just dazzled. Now it looks kind of black, just from first glance. There's no white, but there's so much color in that. There's green, there's yellow, there's red. This is like the highest possible grade. You see all that. You're not imagining it. It's all there. This one is just popping with color. That's kind of exciting. It's a black rock with like hidden heart of color. There's blue, there's literally everything. All right, that's the grand finale for the black matrix spider opal. Yeah, he's just too cool. Can't wait to use him. Great shape too. The next I'm going to show you is called fairy opal. Now this one is put through a process called sugar treatment, and that is an extremely high heat pressurized sugar compound that you would essentially mix the correct sugar mixture in something like a, specialized rock specific pressure cooker. Essentially, you would cut your little pieces. You'd have an idea of what you're looking at. These are Andamooka, the same as my little chippy friends over here, but they're a bit more of the host. You would cut, you would submerge in the pressure cooker, and you would allow the sugar to be forcibly permeate. You would allow the sugar to forcibly permeate the host, and then you would remove it and bake it at a high heat to carbonize that sugar, which creates the darkness of the host, and the opal itself is kind of left to just do its natural thing, be green or purple or blue or whatever. But you wind up with this very interesting sort of surreal, fairy night woodland glade type effect. Some of the fairy opals are extremely expensive. The process that it undergoes does not diminish the value. It just has a really unique, one-of-a-kind vibe. I'll show you a few more examples. I hope I explained that all right. I tried to educate myself a little about what fairy opal was, and I hope I'm Please forgive me if I misspoke in some way about that whole sugar carbonization process. This is another little piece. It has a very solid black area that did not really take to the process in the same degree as its neighbors, so you have kind of a cool patterning going on, but I like that. I think it's cool. This is a really cool piece, and it just has so much color. There's green, there's red. It's a cool shape. It really is like looking at a distant galaxy. There's blues. There's a little of everything. Really like that guy. Can't wait to use him in something. I have to be a little creative with the placement. It's a unique shape, but something cool will come of that. I'm afraid I have forgotten what mine this little airplane represents. This is a type of the Andamooka fairy matrix, fairy opal, but I think it's from a different mine, or Riley usually has a little fairy. I'll show you. This last triangular little friend. 5 carat fairy opal, that's his little, telling you what you have. This guy has the cute little airplane, but it is clearly fairy opal, so I'll have to double check my purchase history. I don't remember exactly what the mine is, but it's a great green, blue, a little bit of purple spectrum. Cool shape, great color, fairy opal, lovely. Another awesome example. This one's filled with blues and greens. Now, I'm going to have to take very careful pictures once I work these into pieces with the appropriate lighting. I'm just sitting inside at the table, letting the sun do its magic. So not the most, high-end. I'm using my cell phone camera, but it does the job. You can basically see what we have there. And this is also the little airplane mine. Sugar treated fairy opal. Oops. I guess he's ready to go back in his baggie. He's a super nice little fairy with bands of galactic blues and purples. It's a really nice shape. I got a few little cabs that are a tad more flat. This has a nice rounded upper, highly polished top. But I'm only going to show you the ones that really have the nicest flash. I don't want to waste your time. Well, maybe I'll do a 10-second quick show. Sorry for dropping it. Looking through my camera distorts my vision a little bit. I'll show you one of the little kind of flat, cheapy fairies. But I only paid $9 for this guy. Now, he is big, but he doesn't have any dome. He's flat, he's light. This is what the back, the unpolished side looks like. Just, a piece of slate or something. But this is the sugar-treated Andamooka matrix, fairy opal. And he has some green, some blue. There's a bit of a, kind of a dead spot right there. What I mean by that is there's really no color, no matter what way you turn it. Very galactic, very otherworldly. So that's the end of the fairy opal. I'm going to move on to another category. It's called Rainbow Matrix Andamooka, and it is a black host with, well, as you would imagine, rainbow effect.